So, the biggest talking point in gaming right now, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's looking pretty good. Call of Duty's popular again, so it's time to make a video. Pretty much nailed it. I'm pretty sure nobody suspects anything here. But in all seriousness, this game has drawn a lot of attention across the entire community, and I think rightfully so. Infinity Ward does seem to have made a few changes to the series, and it does look like they are trying to bring something new to Call of Duty, which I certainly do admire. Part of the reason I left the series was because they weren't really trying to innovate much. They were seemingly just seeing how crazy they could make the games. Treyarch especially have been doing that in their recent games. It's how much craziness can you add to a game, and then it will continue to get even more ridiculous with the microtransactions. But Call of Duty Modern Warfare has gone back to the setting which made the game so successful back in the noughties, and have rebooted the series in order to give it more relevance to modern day warfare. I think that is quite interesting. When the story trailer was dropped, I was very much intrigued by that, because that is in itself something that most games haven't actually tried to go for. A lot of modern military shooters have kind of gone for the Michael Bay approach of how many explosions can you have, how dramatic can you make the story, but by giving it a more grounded story, it might actually make it a more engaging experience and give more of an interesting commentary on the world we currently live in. But the part that is now drawing everyone's attention is the multiplayer reveal. That happened yesterday, and if any of you are interested and haven't somehow already seen the trailer, it will be linked in the description down below. And whilst it has shown quite a lot of the changes they've brought to the game, I'm still not sure with this game. And there is one simple reason for that, and that is the killstreak/score streak system in Call of Duty. The main problem I have with them is that since Modern Warfare 2, kill streaks have simply been oppressive, whereas in games like Call of Duty 4 they were supportive. Now I do quickly want to explain, in my opinion, what the difference is between those two things. In Call of Duty 4 I personally feel the kill streaks were supportive. The reason for that was that they did not completely overpower the map. They didn't absolutely decimate everything once you called them in. But they did make the enemy team change the way they played to adapt to them, and you could use them for many different purposes. So I'm going to use the example of a game of domination. Your team has 2 flags and you're 30 points ahead of the enemy team. You've just got yourself a helicopter. You could call it in straight away to suppress the enemy team. They will have to stay indoors or actively try and shoot the helicopter with the risk of being killed by it. They will have to adapt their play style, and it will hopefully keep them back. It will stop them capturing your flags, and it helps you defend your objectives and keep them around their one flag for a little longer, hopefully helping you then win the game. Or, on the flip side, if you're one of those people that is on the team that's 30 points down, you could perhaps play it a bit more passively, earn yourself an airstrike, and use that to give yourself cover to move out of your base. That is the basis of the supportive kill streaks. They make your opponents adapt to their presence, but they do not cause your opponents to basically have no power on the map. The opponents can still counteract them, and there is still counterplay between them. Whereas if you fast forward to a game like Black Ops 3, the score streaks in the game became incredibly oppressive once you got to the higher streaks. If an enemy kills in a hater, they know exactly where you are. There are only a few bits of equipment that can counter that, or other streaks, and it's very rare that you get the circumstance that someone has those equipped, and if you try and shoot it down, it was incredibly difficult. They had to do this so that these streaks, which would cost so many points to get, felt rewarding to earn, but at the same time they were just completely oppressive for the opposing team. They could do nothing about it. You can't counteract that information. Anyone can just pre-fire a corner because they know you're there, but you will never know that they were there as well. And also, people would then call in streaks like wraps, which just come around and seek you around the map. You could use a perk to evade them, but you could still be killed by them by your teammate being near. It was a completely oppressive experience, and I can't tell you the amount of games where my team was about 50 points up in domination. Somebody then just goes around killing. They weren't bothered about the flags. They were just killing the rest of my team. They earn a hater, they earn a wraps, and then all of a sudden, this one super soldier player can then cause a triple cap for their team, and you lose by a single point. For me, that is not a fun experience. There was no counterplay to those kill streaks. They were simply oppressive, and you cannot adapt to them because of how ridiculously powerful they are. And that is what I'm concerned about. Call of Duty has made kill streaks a staple of their franchise, but I feel that they've gone too far with them and that they are going to be too oppressive. I can't speak for Modern Warfare because I've only seen snippets of the gameplay and I haven't played it for myself, and it's the one concern that is holding me back from committing to this game. It is whether the kill streaks will allow people to adapt to them in game and allow a skilled player to be able to still contribute to their team, or whether they're simply going to oppress the enemy team and just have them get beaten to the ground for the rest of the match. I want the objective of the game to be the sole focus of the players, not who can get the highest kill streak, get the most kills, and show off their EP-ness the most. That is an experience that I don't particularly want anymore. At the moment, I like games that are tactical. They have strategy and depth of strategy. You can adapt to what your enemies are doing, and if you can read them and work out how they're playing, you can then use that against them and you can win the game. That's what I like. I like that kind of tension, the stakes, and I don't want to find myself getting beaten into the ground constantly because someone got a good streak going and then have just been able to decimate my entire team. For me, that is the one aspect which will determine whether I get this game. Fortunately, the powers that be have decided to give the game an open beta this year, so I will be trying that out and seeing what I think of the full game. But for me, this will be the one detail that will determine whether or not I am going to buy this game when it releases, or perhaps wait until a later date to try out the story. But I'm interested to hear what you're all thinking about the game. Please feel free to leave that in the comments down below. I've been the guy from the gamertag, and I'll see you on another video.